There is a road in Rosenberg that one side goes one way out of town and the other side goes the other way into town. And they're about a block apart, so there's some stores in between. But it wasn't always this way. You see, it used to be 2 lanes and a middle turning lane on this side, on Avenue I, and then on Avenue H, it was the same way, where you would have 2 lanes of traffic going one way and the other way, and a middle lane to turn. If you got stopped at one of the lights, especially the busy light at Highway 36, you would be stuck there for a long time because they had to let this lane turn left, and then across the way, that lane had to turn left, and it was very confusing and very messy, to say the least. Welcome to Transurfing in Traffic. I'll see you inside. So my reason in telling you about these intersections is there is a huge pendulum involved in this. Like I said, they weren't always this way. And they just recently turned this way about 2 years ago. But the ruckus and buckus that went on between then was what was crazy. You see, I knew that they were talking in the talks about doing this because my brother had said, hey, guess what? They're going to do one way this way, one way this way. And it's going to make traffic flow so much better. It's kind of like a big city downtown where you got your one ways this way and one way that way. And it does make traffic move so much better. But your residents of Rosenberg did not want to see it that way. And it was kind of funny because I knew what was going on, and that it took them about 10, maybe 11 years before it actually transpired. It actually worked, and it wasn't construction that took so long. It was the decision. Rosenberg is an old town. Richmond and Rosenberg are twin cities. And these roads have always been this way. And people of the city of Rosenberg, or the people that didn't want to do this, were so set in their ways, it was almost hilarious. But there was a huge pendulum at work, and they did not want this traffic to change. And they kept saying, we're not big, we don't want this, da, da, da. But little did they know it was really hurting them, because this traffic should have taken place a long, long time ago. And it didn't, because the residents were arguing about it. Even furthermore, there was a Facebook group called Rosenberg something city, and they gaslighted the tar out of this. And by gaslighting, I mean they would post stuff like, oh God, here comes the intersection, what do y'all think? And it was so funny to watch the pendulum at work, because people were jumping on there and just cussing and getting all mad when they didn't realize the benefit of it, because they were so caught up in the pendulum. What's a pendulum, you ask? Great question. I'm going to put a definition right here, and I'm going to leave it there for a little while so you can study it and learn it. And I'm also going to put it in a link in the description below. Because a pendulum is basically just a thought structure that everybody else is thinking that's very contagious. An easy example to give to you is politics. And the coronavirus is actually a pendulum. And it's all a pendulum wants is your energy, your thoughts. It doesn't want you to think on your own. Why? Because that's not a pendulum. And there are pendulums everywhere. It's better to be aware of pendulums, because that way you can control it. And I'm going to talk about that too at some point in time with a traffic story, I'm sure. No doubt. But my point in teaching you this today is these people were so affected by this pendulum that they were giving their energy to it. And they weren't willing to research and realize that there was an easier way. And I want you to think about this as well. Where are you stuck in your ways and set in your ways and thinking, oh, it's got to be this way. It's got to be this way. It's got to do this. It's got to do that. Because instead of going one way out of town and one way into town, which is so much easier, and really a traffic engineer came up with it to make it easier, why can't we just think our own thoughts, sit back and observe the pendulum? That's what I did. And I actually found humor in that group, people getting mad. And that is a way to stop the pendulum and not get sucked into it. For example, I could have immediately jumped into the group and said, hey, guess what, guys? This is a great idea. It's gonna make traffic flow easier. You're not gonna believe it. And actually, I had friends I would tell that to, and they did not wanna see it. It didn't. And these people would have probably jumped down my throat, because that group that I'm talking about is pendulum loaded. And when you're loaded into a pendulum, you're just fire all over you. It's okay. It's better to sit back and observe. And that's what Vadim teaches. He teaches that the best way to stop a pendulum is just to observe it. Sit back and watch. I've talked about it before on my channel. It's up to you, of course. But how do you want to be influenced? How do you want to see the world? That's my lesson for today. I hope you liked it. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you did. And until next time, I'll see you next time. Peace out and namaste.